Welcome back. It's the Kovacs Report. I've saved this book review till Friday because I really, really needed it to settle into my head about how absolutely stunning this book looks. It's none other than Robert Kirkman and David Finch, Skinbreaker #1, out from Image Skybound. We've all been waiting for this book. We've all heard the rumors, we've all seen previews, but honestly, it surpasses everything. Absolutely everything. Anyway, I'm going to go through it page by page. There'll be tons of spoilers, so read the book first if you don't want it spoiled, and I really do advise that you do. Like the video if you like the video, and definitely hit that subscribe button. I'd really, really appreciate it. So let me just preface this also by the fact that lots of creators nowadays, you could tell that as they've become more successful, their beautiful, detailed art kind of looks rushed, right? I could name many Marvel books right now that you can look at them and think, how long do they even spend on these pages? Well, they're juggling multiple books now instead of just one. And that, I'm afraid, really, really affects the quality of comics nowadays. And it's an ongoing thing. However, this book is a perfect example of when an artist is given as much time as they want and as much creative freedom as they need to produce an absolutely stunning visual delight. And that's what Skinbreaker is. I mean, it's a great story too, but I really, 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 really want to praise the art. David Finch has surpassed anything else he's done before. I mean, let's just look at the first page. There's no dialogue, there's no story here, but look at the detail. Everything has, this visceral feel to it. I'm instantly pulled into this fantasy land. And Annalisa Leoni's colours make everything pop beautifully as well. It is stunning. Look at the bark and the textures and the foliage and the sky and everything else. It is stunning. And that's the way it continues all the way through. I mean, there we go. Look, the first double page spread. Incredible artwork. Anyway, let's get to the story. So, as you can see, this guy here, this old man, is a chieftain I, and he is getting old. He's not as strong, he's not as fast as he used to be, and he is starting to struggle with things. Behind him is his son, young virile Anok, and they are hunting. And a beast has their scent. Now, here you notice that Anok takes the lead here instead of the chieftain, because Anok, as you will learn as we go through these pages, he's trying to help his father, okay? He's also trying to hide the fact that his father, is not the man he once was from the rest of the tribe, because this is one of those tribes where the strongest lead, and they have to prove themselves. And one of those things they do is hunting. So his chieftain father says there is no honor in this, Anok. And his father, you could tell he doesn't want this. He's not happy about the way things are. He doesn't want to be weak. He doesn't want his son, to take the burden from him. But they do. And as they run through this beautiful, beautiful looking forest, they leap over the trees and the bark. They get to a section where the beast has found them. And again, look at this double page spread. Wow, the character designs, the creature designs. Look at the tree and the leaves and the sky. Like, there is not one single piece of this page which isn't untouched beautifully. Even the axe, the inscriptions on it, and the clothing they wear. Honestly, David Finch must have ballistas all over his fingers because the amount of time and effort it's taken to create these pages. Anyway, this very ferocious beast, leaps at them and leaps at his father. But Anok moves his father out the way, because they've been teasing it into a pit of spikes, and it falls, but it's not dead. Now, the hunter must finish and make the kill. So he says, Father, this is yours. And he goes to its jaws to try and crack its jaws and kill it, but he doesn't have the strength anymore. So his son, Anok, has to do it. And he does it, with ease. And his father is very, very upset about this. And the son really doesn't like this. He wants his father to be strong. He's not taking any joy from this. You can feel this loving bond between the both of them. So his father says, listen, you must make the challenge. Now, what this challenge is when a chieftain starts showing little signs of decrepitness, okay, someone else can challenge for the leadership. Now, what they don't want is someone else to take leadership of their tribe. Okay, they want to keep it in the family. And his father is sort of saying, "You need to be the one to challenge me. You have to challenge me." But his son's like, "No, I won't do that." And we learn later on that it is a challenge to the death. So, his son would have to kill the father. He doesn't want to do that. He loves his father, but his father knows that for the benefit of the tribe and also the safety and the benefit of his son and their children and the families going forward, it has to be his son that takes over. And he tries to convince him. He tries to convince them. They've hidden his father's weakness from the tribe for so long, but they're bound to notice, and some have. Anyway, they are transporting their kill back to the camp. And we meet Thule. Now, Thule, he's the big, tough warrior in the tribe. And he knows something isn't right. He wants to make his challenge, but he's waiting for the right time. He needs to make this challenge in public, okay? Because it wouldn't do good just to challenge him out here in the bush with no one to see. He needs to make a display to the rest of the tribe, earn that respect and show that he's strong. And he also realizes that this kill probably was with the aid of Enor's son. But of course, they obfuscate that, and it's not true. And there is very much a moment here where you think they're about to, come to blows. And Anok stands in, protects his father's honor and everything else. And his father pulls him back and says, "No, now's not the time. Release him. Let's get back to camp." Anyway, that's what they do. Now, while they're walking back, they talk about a skin-breaking ceremony. Now, this is something very, very important to this tribe. It's when children or other boys become men, essentially, right? But we're going to learn about that in a little while. But again, just look at this art. Isn't it incredible? It is just incredible. The intricacies of like I say, their costumes and the jewelry and everything else. Every blade has engraving. It's absolutely insane. It's absolutely insane. Anyway, we are back at their village, which looks very, very interesting. Now, the whole fantasy world they're creating here is really spectacular. It really, really is. I absolutely love it. So the chieftain is welcomed back, and he's loved. He is loved by many, by most, especially the children you can see here. And he blesses them all as Thule looks on in a bit of disgust. Thule knows his time is running out before he needs to make this challenge. So they feast that night, as you expect, The chatter around the campfire ensues about the chieftain and everything else. And then we learn a little bit about his son, Anok, and his family. Now, he has a young son too, okay? But we'll get to him too. I'm jumping ahead because I'm just so excited. But his wife is saying, "Listen, someone has to step in. You are the only way that we will be safe. The whole tribe will be safe. Anyone else taking over, especially Thule, it isn't going to go well. They don't want Thule to take over. He's going to be a tyrant. He's going to be terrible, and he's obviously going to take some revenge on lots of people that are there. So she's trying to persuade him to challenge his father, and he just doesn't want to do it. Now, we go into this sort of dark cave where they live, and we meet his young son. As you can see, he's got this weird sort of skin over his sort of flesh and everything else. And this is part of this skin-breaking ceremony. And we learn that he feels shame because after 8 new sons, 8 years, and 8 ceremonies, his skin hasn't broken to reveal that fresh, manly skin underneath. But he says, "Listen, I love you. I am proud of you. You are my pride. You have nothing to feel ashamed about. You are not weak." So this is really interesting because you see how loving this man is, not just to his father, but also to his family. He probably is the right person to take this tribe over. And again, I'm going to talk about the art again. He spent all the time as well putting those carvings into the walls of a cave. It's just incredible. It is incredible. Anyway, a new day dawns and the sun is shining. And this is the big ceremony. It's very, very, very important ceremony. You see this stone here with a hole through it where the sun comes through. Now, the Skinbreaker is a blade. That's a purpley pink blade Enor was holding. What he does is the children assemble in this sacred circle, this sacred monument, and the sun beams through the blade, and obviously it does what light does when it goes through a blade, and it starts burning away that old skin. And then the child is born in strength, okay, and they become sort of like a man, or the next step in their evolution. And the other young boys, their skin's burnt away, and they are absolutely fine until it comes to Anok's son, and yet he tries and tries, but the light does not burn away. The heat does not burn away that sort of skin that needs to be shed before they can move on to the next step in their tribe. Now, Thule takes this as a moment to capitalize. He runs in and he says, "If the son of Anok's skin refuses to break, I demand my son reveal strength in his stead." And they're saying, no, no, no. Like, his son is newly born. He's not even one year old. It will probably kill him. The heat from that, being amplified through that blade will probably end up killing his son. But he doesn't care. He grabs unceremoniously his young boy by the ankle upside down and thrusts it at the chieftain to say, put him through the ceremony, much to everyone's, protesting, but he doesn't care. And this also shows that this guy doesn't really care about his family either. He only cares about power. It's all about power. So reluctantly, the chieftain, Enor, performs the ritual and the skin burns away and he's left unscathed, but maybe psychologically scarred. And he uses this as a symbol that it now is the time for Thule himself, right, to challenge the chieftain for leadership of the tribe. And they have this conversation. He's trying to convince the rest of the tribe's people there. And you can see him there thrusting, showing his chest. And he's saying, "We have allowed shard bearers like Anok to shoulder our chieftain's burden and hide his weakness." So he's really, really going to make his play. We also learned something else about this blade, is that it was shattered long ago by the grandfather. Okay, so this blade was looks like it was bigger, and there's some shards of it. So I'm guessing these shards are held by important people in the tribe, like Anok, and that's very interesting. I'm sure there's a story there. It'd be very interesting. He says, you would be too weak to hold it had it not been shattered so many suns ago. So this sword's very, very important. Anyway. Now's the time, okay? What has to happen here is either Thule is going to challenge the chieftain is going to die, or Anok, his son, reluctantly has to step forward and do it himself. And that's exactly what it does. To save his tribe, to save the people, he steps in and challenges his father. And again, this challenge is to the death. Now, this was incredible, really. There was a lot of setup in it, but it didn't affect the story. The pacing is really good. The dialogue's great. You really feel like you are with a different sort of fantasy tribe of people. It was absolutely glorious to look at every single page. They do this huge treasury oversized edition, and I would thoroughly advise it. If you're a fan of this book, grab that too, because you really get to see all the detail and care that's gone into the art and the penciling and the inking and the coloring and the lettering and everything else. This is a fantastic first issue. It's setting a lot of things up. I'm very, 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 very excited about it. It's another Kirkman hit. That guy just seems to knock them out of the park every time. This for me is definitely one of my indie books of the week. I think it's beautiful, and I'm very, very excited to see where this goes. There's lots of stories that can come out of this. I can't wait. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Do let me know yours. Let me know if you're a fan of it. Let me know if you like the art. Let me know where you think it's going to go. But definitely like the video if you like the video. Definitely hit subscribe if you can. And hopefully we'll catch you in the next one.